Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin by saying something very simple yet very profound. When you educate a man, you educate an individual, but when you educate a woman, you educate an entire generation. Today, I want to share with you some truths that every woman should know, not just for herself, but for the generations she inspires, uplifts, and nurtures. Because when a woman knows her worth, the world changes around her. When we speak about worth, especially in the life of a woman, we must first understand that the world often tries to measure it by standards that are shallow and temporary. From a very young age, society places labels: how she looks, how she dresses, how she speaks, how she behaves. Sometimes, people around her may even say or do things that make her question her own value. But my friends, your worth is not determined by the opinions of others. Your worth is not measured by how many people praise you, follow you, or applaud you. Your worth is not based on how perfect you appear in the mirror or how much you fit into the boxes created by society. True worth is intrinsic. It is the unchanging truth of who you are, regardless of circumstances, appearances, or judgments. Imagine $100 note. If I crumple it, if I throw it on the ground, if I stamp on it, does it lose its value? No. It is still worth $100 because its value does not depend on its condition. In the same way, no matter how much life has crumpled you, no matter how many trials have stepped upon you, no matter how many words have tried to crush your spirit, your value remains intact. A woman must never forget this. She carries an inherent dignity that no insult, no rejection, no failure can ever take away. Many times, people fall into the trap of comparison. They look at someone else's achievements, beauty, or possessions and think, maybe I am not enough. But comparison is the thief of joy. If a rose starts comparing itself to a lotus, it will forget its fragrance. If a moon tries to compete with the sun, it will forget its gentle glow. Each has its own purpose, its own place, its own brilliance. Similarly, every woman must realize that her worth is unique to her. She does not need to be like anyone else. True self-worth is also connected to recognizing the divine within you. When you understand that you are not just a body, not just a face, not just a role that society gives you, but a soul, eternal, powerful, beautiful in essence, you begin to walk differently, talk differently, live differently. You begin to carry yourself with dignity because you know that you are not ordinary. You are a reflection of the Creator's intelligence, love, and purpose. So when the world tries to tell you that you are less, remind yourself you are already more than enough. When situations make you feel inadequate, remind yourself you were created with strength to overcome. When others fail to see your value, remind yourself their blindness does not define your brilliance. A woman who knows her worth does not need validation from outside. She carries her crown within. There is a common illusion in this world that has deceived so many people into believing that a woman's true power lies only in how she looks. Everywhere around us, there are advertisements, movies, magazines, and social media posts that scream the same message again and again: that beauty is everything. And slowly, without realizing it, many women start to believe that their worth is measured by their physical appearance alone. But let me tell you this: outer beauty is temporary, fragile, and fading, while inner strength is eternal, radiant, and lasting. Beauty may attract someone for a moment, but it is strength of character that builds trust, respect, and love for a lifetime. Think about it, flowers bloom, and after some days they wither. Youthful charm may capture attention, but time, age, and circumstances always change it. A face without wrinkles will one day see them. A body that is perfectly shaped will one day carry the marks of time. But inner strength, qualities like compassion, resilience, wisdom, patience, and courage, these do not fade with time. In fact, they grow stronger, deeper, and more inspiring. That is why the greatest legacy of a woman is not in how beautiful she looked, but in how strong she stood, how gracefully she carried herself, and how much love and wisdom she shared with others. Imagine two women standing side by side. One may be admired instantly because of her beauty, but when she speaks without depth, without substance, the admiration is short-lived. The other may not fit the world's superficial standards, but when she speaks, her words heal, her presence strengthens, and her actions inspire. Which one leaves a mark on people's hearts? It is not the one who turned heads, it is the one who touched souls. There is a story about a candle and the sun. The candle is beautiful, glowing, and attractive in the dark, but when the sun rises, the candle loses its significance. Outer beauty is like that candle. It shines for a while, but eventually fades in the presence of inner strength, which is like the sun, unchanging, brilliant, and everlasting. A woman's true glory comes not from how she looks, but from the light she carries inside her. If you want to inspire people, do not rely only on your appearance. Build your strength from within. Invest in your mind, in your heart, in your values. Outer beauty may make someone look at you once, but inner beauty will make them respect you forever. The truth is, the world remembers not the women who only looked beautiful, but the women who carried themselves with courage in the face of adversity, the women who stood for truth when it was inconvenient, the women whose compassion healed wounds that beauty could never reach. A woman who understands this balance between grace and strength becomes unshakable. She can walk into any room with confidence, not because of how she looks, but because of the energy she radiates. And that is the kind of presence the world desperately needs. Not just another beautiful face, but another powerful soul. So many times, people misunderstand the concept of self-love. They think it means arrogance, selfishness, or an obsession with oneself. But in truth, self-love is not about thinking you are better than others. It is about recognizing that you too are worthy of care, respect, and kindness. A woman who learns to love herself is not becoming selfish. She is learning to fill her own cup so that she can pour into others without running dry. Without self-love, service turns into slavery, giving turns into exhaustion, and relationships become chains instead of blessings. Imagine a tree that provides shade, fruit, and shelter to countless birds and travelers. If the roots of that tree are not nourished, if the soil is not watered, how long will it stand? Eventually, it will dry up and collapse, leaving no shade, no fruit, and no shelter for anyone. In the same way, when a woman neglects her own well-being, when she constantly gives and gives, but never replenishes herself, eventually she will burn out. That is why self-love is not an option, it is a necessity. It is the foundation that allows a woman to serve her family, her community, and the world without losing herself in the process. There are so many women who feel guilty for taking time for themselves. They think, if I rest, I'm being lazy. If I say no, I'm being rude. If I put myself first, I'm being selfish. But this is a misunderstanding. You cannot pour from an empty cup. You cannot shine if your inner light is dimmed. When you love yourself enough to set boundaries, to rest when needed, to nurture your body, mind, and soul, you actually become more capable of giving to others. You give from a place of fullness, not from a place of depletion. Self-love also means speaking kindly to yourself. Too often, women become their own worst critics. They look in the mirror and find flaws. They compare themselves to others and feel inadequate. They replay mistakes in their minds and punish themselves with guilt. But would you speak that way to a friend you love? Would you constantly remind her of her flaws, compare her to others, or tell her she is not enough? Never. Then why do you do it to yourself? Self-love is choosing to be your own best friend, encouraging yourself, forgiving yourself, and reminding yourself that perfection is not required for worthiness. There is also a spiritual dimension to self-love. When you love yourself, you honor the divine within you. You recognize that you were created with intention, that your existence has meaning, and that you are not an accident. To neglect yourself is to neglect the gift that life has given you. To love yourself is to say, I respect the Creator's work in me. This kind of love brings peace because it is not about ego, but about alignment with a higher truth. When a woman practices self-love, she becomes radiant in a way that no makeup or clothing can create. She glows with confidence, she walks with dignity, and she gives with abundance. People around her feel uplifted because she is not draining herself, she is overflowing with inner strength. Such a woman is not only happier herself, but she also inspires others to rise, to grow, and to value themselves. Education is one of the greatest treasures a woman can ever possess because it is the one thing no one can steal from her. Wealth may be lost, beauty may fade, relationships may change, and circumstances may turn upside down, but the knowledge and wisdom you cultivate remain with you for life. That is why a woman should never underestimate the power of educating herself, not just in academics, but in every sphere of life, from emotional intelligence to financial literacy, from spiritual wisdom to practical skills. Education is empowerment, and empowerment is freedom. When a woman is educated, she does not just improve her own life, she transforms the lives of everyone connected to her. An educated woman becomes a guiding light for her children, passing on values, discipline, and knowledge. She becomes a source of inspiration for her community, breaking stereotypes and showing others what is possible. She becomes a pillar of strength in her family, not only managing responsibilities with wisdom, but also making decisions that shape the future. Education is not just about degrees or certificates. It is about the strength to think clearly, to question wisely, to stand firmly, and to choose rightly. There is a saying, if you educate a man, you educate an individual. But if you educate a woman, you educate a generation. Why? Because a woman is often at the center of nurturing, influencing, and raising others. When she carries wisdom, it flows into her relationships, her family, and eventually society. Every great leader, every innovator, every thinker was once a child sitting at the feet of a mother or a teacher, absorbing the lessons she imparted. That is the ripple effect of an educated woman. Her wisdom echoes through generations. But education is not only about books. It is about learning from life, from experiences, from observation, and from reflection. A woman who reads and studies, who listens and observes, who reflects and applies, she becomes powerful. She does not depend blindly on others to guide her, because she carries her own compass within. She can face challenges with clarity because she has cultivated her mind. She can respond to adversity with courage because she has prepared herself with wisdom. Some people may say, why does a woman need so much education if her role is only to manage a home? But this is a narrow view. Running a household itself requires wisdom, balance, patience, and management skills. Raising children requires emotional intelligence and deep understanding. And in today's world, women are not confined to one space. They are leaders, entrepreneurs, professionals, creators, and visionaries. Education equips them to excel wherever life places them. There is also the education of the heart and soul. A truly powerful woman does not only gather information, but also cultivates compassion, empathy, and faith. She understands not only how the world works, but also how relationships thrive, how emotions heal, and how spirituality uplifts. This balance between intellectual education and inner education makes a woman truly extraordinary. She becomes someone who is not only smart but also wise, not only knowledgeable but also kind, not only skilled but also graceful. And let us not forget, education brings independence. A woman who is educated does not have to remain trapped in unhealthy relationships, unjust systems, or oppressive circumstances, because she has the ability to think, to choose, and to act. She can stand on her own feet, earn her own living, and build her own future if needed. That independence is not arrogance, it is dignity. It is the freedom to live life with self-respect. When a woman commits herself to learning continuously, she becomes unstoppable. Life may throw challenges, but she adapts. People may try to limit her, but she grows beyond their limitations. Time may change, but her knowledge only expands. And the most beautiful thing is that she does not keep her wisdom to herself. She passes it on, becoming a source of light for others. There is a misunderstanding in the modern world about what it truly means to be feminine. Some think that femininity is weakness, fragility, or dependence, while others try to erase it completely, believing strength only looks like toughness or hardness. But the truth is, real femininity is not weakness at all. It is strength wrapped in grace. A woman does not need to become harsh to be powerful, nor does she need to abandon her softness to be respected. True feminine grace is the ability to carry strength in such a way that it uplifts, nurtures, and inspires, rather than intimidates or diminishes. Think of water. It is gentle, flowing, and soft to the touch. Yet it has the power to shape landscapes, carve valleys, and nourish life. A river may seem calm, but over time it wears down the strongest rocks. That is the power of feminine grace. It does not need to shout. It does not need to force. It does not need to prove itself. Its strength lies in its quiet endurance, in its ability to transform without aggression, in its capacity to heal, nurture, and give life. Many women today feel pressured to harden themselves to survive in competitive spaces. They feel they must silence their gentleness to be taken seriously, or they must carry themselves with aggression to command respect. But the irony is, when a woman embraces her authentic grace, she commands a deeper kind of respect, one that cannot be manufactured. Grace is not about being submissive, it is about being centered. It is knowing who you are so deeply that you don't need to fight to prove it. Your presence itself radiates dignity. Feminine grace also means carrying beauty of character. It is the elegance of speech that uplifts rather than insults, the gentleness of action that comforts rather than wounds, and the strength of spirit that keeps standing even when storms rage. A graceful woman is not someone who has a perfect life. She is someone who responds to imperfections with poise. She does not allow challenges to make her bitter. She transforms them into wisdom. She does not allow disrespect to make her insecure. She allows it to refine her confidence. That is grace, the ability to go through life's ups and downs without losing your balance. History is full of women who embodied this kind of power. Some were queens, some were mothers, some were teachers, and some were simple village women. They may not have had positions of authority, but their grace gave them influence. They inspired leaders, raised generations, healed communities, and brought peace to hearts. Their strength was not in loud declarations, but in quiet resilience. Their presence made people feel safe, heard, and valued. And isn't that true power? The ability to leave people better than you found them. Feminine grace is also spiritual. It comes from recognizing that you are more than your roles, more than your body, more than the opinions people hold about you. It is rooted in the awareness of your soul, in the connection with the divine. When a woman understands her spiritual identity, she carries herself with natural dignity because she knows she is already whole. She doesn't need constant validation. She doesn't need to compare. She doesn't need to fight to prove her worth. Her grace flows from within, unshaken by the noise outside. A graceful woman is not a silent woman. She can speak with authority. She can stand for what is right, and she can defend herself when needed. But even in her firmness, there is calmness. Even in her strength, there is humility. Even in her leadership, there is compassion. That balance is rare, and it is magnetic. It draws people not by force, but by inspiration. When a woman embraces her feminine grace, she becomes like a lamp in a dark room. She doesn't need to demand attention. She naturally shines, and people cannot help but notice. She doesn't need to push others down to rise. Her very presence elevates the space around her. That is the kind of strength the world desperately needs. Strength that heals, and that nurtures, that inspires, and that transforms without violence. One of the greatest lessons a woman can learn in life is the art of setting boundaries. Many times, women are taught to always give, to always say yes, to always accommodate others, even at the cost of their own peace and dignity. They are praised for being selfless, for sacrificing endlessly, for enduring silently. But there is a thin line between kindness and exploitation, between generosity and being taken for granted. To set boundaries is not arrogance, it is not selfishness, it is self-respect. It is saying, I know my value, and I will not allow anyone to diminish it. Imagine a house without walls. Anyone could walk in, take what they want, make a mess, and leave. That house would no longer feel like a safe home. In the same way, If a woman does not establish boundaries in her life, people will enter and exit as they please, leaving behind pain, confusion, and exhaustion. But when she builds clear walls, not walls of isolation, but walls of dignity, she creates a space where love can thrive, respect can grow, and her soul can breathe freely. Saying no is one of the hardest things for many women. They worry that if they refuse someone's demand, they will be seen as rude, unkind, or uncaring. But in reality, every time you say yes to something that drains you, you are saying no to your own well-being. Every time you agree to something out of guilt or fear, you chip away a little piece of your self-worth. Learning to say no is not about rejecting people. It is about protecting your energy so that you can give wholeheartedly to the things and people that truly matter. Boundaries also apply to relationships. No woman should ever tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or abuse in the name of love, duty, or loyalty. Love without respect is not love, it is control. Loyalty without dignity is not loyalty, it is bondage. Boundaries teach others how to treat you. When you accept mistreatment silently, you give permission for it to continue. But when you stand up with grace and clarity, you teach the world that your soul is not to be walked upon. Setting boundaries also means guarding your time and energy. Time is life. It is the most precious currency you have. If you give it away carelessly to every demand, every distraction, every unnecessary drama, you will find yourself empty when it comes to your true purpose. Boundaries mean choosing wisely where to invest your time, your focus, and your heart. It means asking yourself, does this relationship nourish me or drain me? Does this activity bring me closer to my goals or pull me away? Does this situation align with my values or compromise them? Boundaries are not walls that separate you from others. They are gates that allow in what is healthy and keep out what is harmful. A woman who sets boundaries does not become less loving. She becomes more powerful in her love. Because her giving is intentional, not forced. Her presence is chosen, not imposed. Her kindness flows from fullness, not from depletion. People respect her more, not less, because they see that she values herself. And when a woman values herself, she teaches others how to value her too. There is also a spiritual angle to boundaries. The soul is pure, sacred, and valuable. Allowing negativity, toxicity, and disrespect into your life is like allowing dirt to cover the jewel of your spirit. Protecting your inner peace is not just self-care, it is honoring the divine spark within you. Boundaries are a way of saying, I respect myself because I am a child of God, and I will not allow anything to dim the light He has placed within me. When a woman learns to set boundaries, she reclaims her freedom. She no longer feels trapped in the expectations of others. She no longer feels guilty for taking care of herself. She no longer tolerates disrespect disguised as affection. She walks with a quiet strength because she knows what she deserves and what she will not accept. Such a woman inspires others, not because she is hard or unkind, but because she has the courage to honor her worth. Faith and spirituality are the roots of a woman's unshakable strength. When life tests her, when people misunderstand her, when circumstances push her to the edge, it is her connection with the divine that steadies her heart and keeps her standing. Many times, we look for strength in people, in possessions, in achievements, but all of these can fail us. People change, possessions fade, achievements can be forgotten. But faith gives a woman an anchor in the middle of a storm, a light in the darkest tunnel, a hope when everything seems lost. A woman grounded in spirituality is not easily shaken by criticism or praise. She does not depend on the world to tell her who she is, because she already knows her identity as a soul, as a divine creation, as someone deeply loved by God. This awareness gives her dignity that no insult can destroy and humility that no success can inflate. It makes her strong, but it also makes her gentle. It gives her courage, but it also gives her peace. Such balance is rare, and it comes only from being rooted in something higher than this temporary world. Faith teaches patience. When prayers are not answered immediately, when struggles seem endless, when life feels unfair, a spiritual woman remembers that every delay has meaning, every difficulty has a purpose, and every closed door is leading her to the right path. Instead of breaking down, she learns to surrender. Surrender does not mean weakness. It means trusting that there is a plan greater than her own. It means walking forward with hope, even when the road is unclear. Spirituality also gives a woman compassion. When she sees the divine in herself, she also begins to see it in others. She learns to forgive, not because people deserve forgiveness, but because she deserves peace. She learns to love deeply, not because people are perfect, but because love is her nature. This kind of love is not dependent on conditions, on reciprocation, or on circumstances. It flows freely, and in doing so, it heals both the giver and the receiver. There is also a certain quiet power in a woman of faith. She may not raise her voice to prove her worth, but her presence itself carries weight. She may not fight battles with weapons, but her prayers, her wisdom, and her resilience change outcomes more than force ever could. When others panic, she remains calm. When others doubt, she holds on. When others give up, she rises again. That steadiness is the gift of faith, and it is what makes her a pillar in her family, her community, and her relationships. Think of a tree during a storm. Its branches sway, its leaves may fall, but its roots hold it firmly in place. That is what spirituality does for a woman. It roots her so deeply in the divine that no storm can uproot her. Life may bend her, but it cannot break her. Her strength is not loud, but it is unmovable. And when people see her calmness in the midst of chaos, they too find courage to keep going. In this modern world, many are searching restlessly for meaning, for identity, for happiness. They try to find it in status, in wealth, in recognition, but still feel empty. A woman connected to faith shows a different path. She radiates peace because she has learned to drink from the eternal source. She inspires others, not just by what she says, but by who she is, centered, content, and unshakable. Her life becomes a reminder that true strength does not come from outside. It comes from within, from the soul, from God. Life will always bring challenges. No matter who we are, no matter how carefully we plan, no matter how much we try to avoid difficulties, adversity will visit every single one of us. For a woman, these challenges may come in different forms: disappointments in relationships, pressures of family responsibilities, struggles in career, battles with self-doubt, or even society's unfair expectations. But it is not the challenges themselves that define her life, it is how she responds to them. Resilience is the quality that allows a woman to rise again and again, no matter how many times she is pushed down. Resilience is not about pretending that pain does not exist. It is not about suppressing emotions or acting as though everything is fine when it is not. True resilience is about facing the pain, feeling it deeply, and still choosing not to be defeated by it. It is the courage to stand up with tears in your eyes and say, "This storm will not destroy me. I will walk through it, and I will come out stronger." That is the power that makes a woman extraordinary. Her ability to transform wounds into wisdom, obstacles into opportunities, and breakdowns into breakthroughs. Think of gold. Before it shines with brilliance, it must go through fire. The heat burns, but it purifies. The pressure feels unbearable, but it brings out strength. In the same way, when a woman faces difficulties, she is being refined, shaped, and strengthened. She may not realize it in the moment, but every challenge she endures is carving resilience into her character. And one day, she will look back and see that the very things that tried to break her actually built her. Resilience also means not allowing failures to define you. Many times, society is quick to label a woman when she falls, if she makes a mistake, if a relationship fails, if a plan does not work out. But failure is never the end unless you accept it as the end. Every successful person, every great leader, every inspiring woman you admire has faced failure at some point. The difference is they did not stay down. They learned, they adapted, and they tried again. A resilient woman knows that failure is not a dead end. It is a detour, a redirection towards something better. Another important aspect of resilience is patience. Sometimes the storm does not pass quickly. Sometimes the struggle lasts longer than you imagined. In those moments, resilience is about enduring with hope, about not giving up even when the answers are not clear. It is about saying, "This season is hard, but it is not forever. I will not let this define me. I will let it prepare me." That kind of patience turns suffering into strength and waiting into wisdom. Resilient women also inspire others. When her children see her standing strong in adversity, they learn courage. When her friends see her rising after failure, they learn perseverance. When her community sees her refusing to give up, they learn hope. Her life itself becomes a lesson that no matter how many storms come, the human spirit is stronger. She becomes a living example that resilience is not only about surviving, but about thriving despite the odds. There is also a spiritual depth to resilience. A woman of faith understands that nothing happens without meaning. Even in her hardest trials, she trusts that God is shaping her, preparing her, and guiding her. That trust gives her strength to keep going when others would quit. She does not see adversity as a punishment, but as a training ground. Every difficulty is a teacher, every trial is a lesson, and every setback is a stepping stone. Her resilience is not only her own, it is supported by her faith, which whispers to her soul, "You are never alone, and you are stronger than you think." When a woman chooses resilience, she becomes unstoppable. Life may bend her, but it cannot break her. She may fall, but she will always rise. She may cry, but she will keep moving forward. Her spirit becomes like a mountain, weathered by storms, but never shaken from its foundation. And when the world sees her resilience, they do not just see her, they see hope itself standing tall